Greetings, Light Tribe. Janine Palmer here. Spirit, Silver Moon, Harmony, Energy, Healing. Sharing a little messages from experience, from my limited perspective to date. My perspective is always changing when more knowledge is being added from experience, from the things I learn. And in an effort to do my own healing, I learned a lot of energy healing modalities. Hi, Kylie. To help myself to work through the effects of difficulties on an emotional, spiritual, and mental level, for how we identify with what happens and how we allow it to hold us back or not. And that's different things to different people. And I've been taking a break on here for a while, and one of my friends came on and messaged me and said, "Put your stuff back up, I need to hear it." And she was talking about some of the poetry, but because the messages do help. Most people will probably find something in them that they might resonate with, or that they might find helpful, and some people might find things that they're offended about. To each his own, depending on what level we're at, whatever vibrational level. And learning tools for healing, and being able to use those to help people, as many people do. Some people don't want it, and they really do have to want it and ask for it to be effective. So if you see someone that's suffering and struggling, you can say, hey, there's things you can do, and maybe they're open to that, and maybe they're not. So if they're not open to it, and they're resistant and they don't want it, you have to leave them where they are. You have to leave them where they are, even if that's in their own suffering, because that's choice. To some degree and level, that is choice, our free will choice. We get to choose what we open up to or what we don't, what we resist or what we stop resisting. And we have to come to a place of acceptance. And I've learned that, but I keep being tested with it again. And recently I shut down just because of haters and negative things coming in. And then we have to determine how we're going to respond or react to that. Usually when people block, you have to come to an acceptance, like, okay, I accept that this is the way this is right now, even though it's not pleasant, even though it might feel hurtful, even though I don't understand it, even though they don't understand us. Acceptance. Because when we accept it, then we can figure out how we're going to move forward. But what I was going to say was, like, if we block someone, why does someone block someone? Let's talk about the few reasons why someone might block someone. If someone is being lower vibrational, I use that term for negativity. If they're coming from their wounds, if they're being provoking, starting arguments, poking a wound on you, using a weakness against you, they're disrespectful. And some of us will try to talk to them and say, hey, but if they're not listening, and we need to block that negativity out of our space, we might block them. And then we might have mutual friends, and they might tell the mutual friend, and the mutual friend will unfriend us when they have no idea what we've been going through. They have no idea what that person that they know on one level and we know on a different level, they have no idea what that person says to us or has done to us. So it's just mind-boggling how people take sides without all the information. And so they might hear something from someone and then hold it against someone else when they don't even know what that someone else went through, or what that person hiding behind that mask isn't saying to the person that they did to the other person. It's an unknown, okay? There's a lot of things we don't know. And so similarly, when people aren't ready to heal and you have to leave them where they are, you also have to leave people in ignorance, okay? So if someone is ignorant of all the facts that pertained to anything, if they are ignorant of that and they don't care enough to try to gain the information, and they're going to create a viewpoint from that, a perspective from that, and they're going to believe that perspective, and then they're going to have negative energy against someone they don't even know and they've never been in their shoes, okay? then that's their ignorance, and you have to leave them in their ignorance because you can't change it. You can't say, oh, excuse me, but let me tell you these little pieces of information that might change your perspective. You can't just go, when someone has talked shit about you, and go to the person and say, yeah, well, there's more to the story. Do you want to hear it? You know what I mean? It's like you can't. You have to let it go that it doesn't really matter, because even the person in ignorance, that's their journey. Okay? And I talk a lot about taking sides or not taking sides when it comes to politics and religions. Well, it's similar in friendships too. I mean, sometimes we want to be heard. We want someone to know that, hey, someone's being really, really an asshole to me, and it's not freaking fair. Sometimes we do want to be heard, and sometimes we will speak out. And then we just have to not care, really. Get to a point where we don't care. But so for blocking, some people might get mad at someone and they might block them as a punishment. But most of the time it's for protection. It's that something's so messed up that you have to block to keep it out of your space. And it doesn't mean you don't care about the person. It doesn't mean you're being unkind. It doesn't mean you're a bitch, an asshole, or a dick. It just means that you have the choice of what you're going to let into your space. Some people get all butthurt and annoyed, and they'll block it as a punishment. But there's something to be learned from all of it, and especially for open-minded. I mean, has anyone ever had a stalking situation where someone wanted something from you that you weren't prepared to give, and so they made your life a hell? Anybody ever had something like that? Yeah. So some of the friends that we think we know, they only show us certain aspects of themselves, and we don't know everything about everyone. So whenever you hear someone talking shit about someone else, and you don't give that person a chance to get to know them yourself, then you're duping yourself as well. And that's it for this video. Peace.